Hey, how's it going? My name is Helmi. I'm from Balcony Hijau blog. Today I'll be talking about my experience investing my money using Robo-Advisors. So at the end of this video, you'll know what is a Robo-Advisor, what are the pros and cons, who is it for, who is it not for, if you put your money in, can you withdraw anytime you want, and how to get started. All right, so let's begin. So what is a Robo-Advisor? Well, if you compare it to unit trusts or mutual funds, you probably heard of it, right? I think my mother used to have unit trust. She has this agent that she pays a fee every month. That money will be assigned to some sort of fund manager where the fund manager will pick out what investments to put that money in so everybody makes money. So the fund manager needs to be this very smart person who's always up to date and got their emotion in check. So a robo-advisor, you can think of it as an artificial intelligent program, or robot if you may, that replaces that human fund manager. So at the moment, the two most talked about brand in robo-advisories in Malaysia are Stashaway and Wahed Invest. So who is robo-advisors for? I think it's good for people like me, where I have a little bit of money in fixed deposit, but the year after year performance is just, the rate's going down and down and down. And I think the rate for this year, when I get it next year, it's going to be pretty bad because of this whole COVID thing. So I'm exploring some investments which is a little bit riskier, not too much, but a little bit riskier than the fixed deposit. I also tried investing individual stocks. I gotta be honest, I have no idea what I was doing, and I didn't really make any money. The stocks that did appreciate in value that I picked is kind of wiped out because of the fees involved. So the fees if you invest in individual stocks are kind of crazy, especially if you invest using your bank brokerage. I think my risk profile tolerance is between medium to high. So if I invest money, and I don't really mind seeing go up and down, as long as overall in the long term it's sort of like steadily increasing. So some people, they don't like to see the up and down, then this might not be for you. I also couldn't be bothered to research my own investment. I just couldn't care less. I don't find joy in it. And lastly, if you run a business or you're a freelancer or your income is just affected, like right now during COVID-19, so you can't allocate like a fixed thing every month. Maybe because like investment linked insurance, maybe it's like what, 300 a month. But let's say your situation doesn't allow that. Maybe this month you can invest 150, maybe next month 300, maybe the month after that nothing at all. Maybe the month after that gonna be 200. We don't know. It's kind of like varied. So I need something that's a little bit flexible that can handle this. So who is the robo-advisor not for? So I think it's for people who are quite conservative. I think personally it makes no sense to put money in robo-advisors, because I think you could just be better off just buying gold or just put your money in fixed deposit. Two, if you enjoy picking out your own stocks, picking out your own investment, doing the research, there are people out there that actually do enjoy doing all this. So you might end up outperforming the robo-advisor maybe, or you just enjoy the process. Then I think you'd be better off just doing it on your own. So as mentioned, there were two brands, Stashaway and Wahed Invest. They're both basically doing the same thing, just spreading your money around. But the main key difference is that Wahed Invest only invests your money into Sharia compliant businesses. So to keep it simple, if you put your money in Wahed Invest, they don't put your money in businesses that deal with gambling, with firearms, with adult entertainment, with tobacco, the basic Islamic haram stuff. So in my opinion, you don't really have to be a Muslim to invest your money in Wahed Invest, because some people, they don't want their money in firearms or all adult entertainment. I mean, it just goes against their moral values. Then Wahed Invest might make sense to you. On the other side, for Stashaway, they are not confined to just put your money into Sharia compliant companies, meaning they're free to put their money wherever they feel fit. So to learn about these robo-advisors the fastest I can is to actually put my own money in. So I put 1,000 ringgit into Stashaway and another 1,000 into Wahed Invest just a little over 3 weeks ago. And to keep it fair, I configured my portfolio to be the most aggressive that both of these would allow. So my key finding here, it seems that both of them invest your money in gold. I think that's what they benchmark as a safe investment. Wahed Invest is, as I mentioned, 100% Sharia compliant. I feel like Stashaway is a bit more diverse in that means your money is really spread around the world. Whereas Wahed Invest, I think mostly, as I cover later, mostly covers US stocks and Malaysian assets. Wahed Invest is a little bit more focused because I feel like they put most of your money in the US stock market and also the Malaysian market. Stashaway, on the other hand, doesn't invest in Malaysian market at all. But the good news is that both of them you can withdraw your money at any time. Alright, so now let's take a look at how is my portfolio doing for each and every one of these robo-advisors. Alright, so let's start with Stashaway. Alrighty, Stashaway. So when I put 1,000 ringgit, I remembered it went straight down. And the lowest point was about 978 ringgit. So that's about like a 22 ringgit drop. Not too bad, but still a drop. And then it fluctuated back up and down, and today, 3 weeks later, I have a profit of 17 cents. So if we look at the breakdown of how they diversified my money, 44% is in international stocks, mostly in emerging markets and also in the UK. So not so much in the US. 34%, which is also the second biggest chunk, is in commodities, which is gold. In terms of geographic location, about 24%, about a quarter of my money is in the US. 22% is in Europe, mostly in the UK. And about 12% in Asia, which is in China. So none of the money though is in Malaysia with Stashaway. So they had this cool projection table portfolio for the next 5 years. I have 95% chance that 1,000 ringgit will be at least 1,178 ringgit, 95% chance. 50% chance it will go up to 1,670. So they have some probability here going on. I'll probably end up somewhere between 50 to 75%, which is the normal distribution. I could be wrong. So now let's take a look at Wahed Invest. Wahed Invest's riskiest portfolio is called Aggressive. And after 3 weeks, it's also the same story. It went plummeted down all the way to the lowest was 979, which is about the same as Stashaway. And it fluctuates up and down, and today I have actually lost 6 ringgit 45 cents. So it's a gain of negative 0.64%. So if we look at the breakdown for Wahed Invest, most of it, 43%, is in US stocks that are Sharia compliant. The second biggest chunk, 25%, which is about a quarter, is in Sukuk. No idea what that is, but I googled it, and apparently it's Islamic bond. And about 18% is in Malaysian stocks. So Wahed invests in Malaysian stock market. I think it's because we have a lot of companies that are Sharia compliant over here, which kind of makes sense. And then you got the standard 10% gold and a bit of cash. Unfortunately, they didn't tell me which currency is the cash in. So the fees are really cheap. So for the portfolio value of less than 50,000 ringgit, they're going to be charging you 0.99%. So to give you a perspective, for my portfolio of 1,000 ringgit, they're going to charge me an annual fee for around 9 ringgit. 1,000. Okay, now we're going to move on to the pros and cons. We're going to start with the pros of a robo-advisor. The management fee, which is less than 1%, which is crazy low. Compared to the fees that you'll be dealing with if you would have picked out individual stocks, 1% is crazy low. So I've never invested in mutual funds, but I believe it's not so transparent and the fees are much higher. So unlike other investments, let's say property, stocks, you actually need a lot of money just to get your feet through the door. But with robo-advisors, you can start with as low as 100 or maybe even less for some robo-advisors. And the last pro to me personally is I really couldn't care less about picking up the right investments. They're gonna do everything for me and I can go out and live my life. So Robo-Advisor cons, when I deposited money, it's not instant. So it takes them about 1 to 2 business days for them to get the money. And once they get the money, and only then can they start investing. So if you deposit money in like Friday, you're not going to be able to do anything until, let's say, Tuesday or Wednesday. So if you are a seasoned investor, you probably want to pick a certain type of investment. So unfortunately, you can't do that within the Robo-Advisor because they're going to do everything for you. So if you really like, let's say, Coca-Cola stocks or whatever, then you can go ahead and just do that on your own. So the last point, can I withdraw my money? I looked here in Wahed Invest. I made a loss, right? So instead of 1,000 ringgit, it's 993.55 ringgit is my current portfolio value. And there's an option for me to withdraw all of it, not 1,000, but the current value, which is 993.55. So it says here it may take 7 to 8 business days for the funds to be sent back to my bank account. I think that's all right. So how about withdrawing money in Stashaway? So Stashaway, I actually made 17 cents profit. So my portfolio is 1,000 ringgit and 17 cents. So can I withdraw everything 1,017 cents? Let's take a look. All right, it says here that my available funds to withdraw is the full value, 1,017 cents. Sweet. All right, so the key takeaway here is, for me, I like the concept of this app thing. First of all, it's very easy. There's not really much for you to do. The apps are very clean, and I like that they're very transparent. Unlike traditional businesses, banks, they don't really want to tell you their full fees. They just, because they want to keep charging you all this ridiculous stuff. So I like the newer generation now. The apps, they tend to be quite transparent. So I lost money in Wahed Invest, but I gained a little bit of money in Stashaway, and I can withdraw both of my market value in both of these Robo-Advisors. Not an issue. So that gained my trust. So I'll be continuing to just observe what's going to happen in my portfolio for the next month before I decide to put more money in if I want to. Although I lost money in Wahed Invest, but I gained a bit of money in Stashaway, I feel like it's kind of a dead tie between these two. I couldn't pick one over the other, quite frankly, because I think in the long run, they both should be making me money in the long term, which is what it's designed to do anyways. So to help you pick, if you really don't want your money in Malaysia for some reason, let's say you already have money in Malaysia, why would you invest in Malaysia? Let's say that's how you feel, then you should pick Stashaway because they don't invest any of your money in Malaysia. Everything's abroad. On the other hand, if you don't want your money to be spread around the world too much, then I think Wahed Invest makes a lot of sense because Wahed Invest concentrates on the US stock market and also on the Malaysian market. So there you go, that's my experience. So you can click on the link down there if you want to open up your own account for either Stashaway or Wahed Invest. I think you'll get a little bit of something, and I also get a little bit of kickback as well. So I hope this has been helpful, and see you again on the next video. Goodbye.